gosh, you guys, I'm back. It's been a long time and I am so sorry, but it has been a whirlwind of what has it been, 6 months? Yeah. Well, in that time, we bought a house. It's awesome because it is on the other side of the city that we were currently living in, and it's still within walking distance to my work. It's in a great neighborhood. It was an abandoned property that a builder came in. I'm going to shout them out. Pangro Development came in and just redid. The only thing that's original in this house is the staircase. That's it. Everything else brand spanking new. It's brand new construction inside of a city home that's like circa 1923, which is exactly what we wanted. We wanted to live in the city. New construction with old charm. Can't get any better than that. So now that I have a kitchen that you can actually open the refrigerator door all the way without like having to scoot around and making sure the other person's on the other side, and alley kitchen is now gone. I gotta put my money where my mouth is, and this video is about how I saved dinner and still don't cook. Not that I don't mind cooking, it's just not my absolute favorite thing. I don't know. Sometimes I'm really into it. I can grab like a glass of wine and chop some vegetables and saute and do all of that. And sometimes I could crack open a beer and grill some meat. But every single day, like making sure everybody's fed every single day is a task in and of itself. And we're only a family of 3. So anybody else out there who has more children than just one, or has 3,000 different activities to go to in the course of a day, I feel for you. By the way, if you hear any heavy breathing or whatever, Dylan is in his high chair right here eating spaghetti. So he's watching me make this video. But so I wanted to get into this because I've been working on this for quite some time, because what was happening is Michael and I have very poor eating habits. Before Dylan, we would eat out all the time. Eat out, order in. Our cooking was like 3 or 4 dishes we would kind of rotate on, and that was, and even before that, when we were both single, I mean, I was out to dinner 4 times a week. Michael was ordering in every single fried food that you can imagine. We ate, and we ate poorly, and we know that. So the one thing that we wanted to do when we found out that I was pregnant is we wanted to make sure that we got a lot better at eating meals together, eating good meals, home cooking, that sort of thing. And it was good for a while, but I mean, only one of us can be in the kitchen at a time, and that's really no fun. I like to hang out. I like him to have a beer while I'm cooking, or I like to have a glass of wine and sit while he cooks, and it just wasn't fun. It's just not fun. So we would rotate our 4 dishes, and it really wasn't an issue if we still continued to eat poorly, because, Dylan was on formula and he was being fed from a jar. Organic, but from a jar. And so we felt like we had plenty of time, and we just never got around to doing what it is that we said we were going to do. Now we have this house, we have a dining room, we have a kitchen, we have a patio, we have a porch, and there's no excuse whatsoever. So what was happening is now that he's into like big people food, we were starting to struggle with, the 3 or 4 dishes, and then I was having to cook separately for him because I didn't want him to have our crappy fried mozzarella sticks. So I would actually cook him tofu and asparagus or something like that, and he would eat it, but Michael wouldn't, and then I would be stuck with like sandwiches, and it was a freaking disaster. And then finally, like, there would be no food in the house, and I would go to the grocery store and I would pile a whole bunch of stuff in the cart that didn't make any sense whatsoever, because I was so hell-bent on making sure that everything we ate was fresh that I would put all this fresh stuff in the cart but never do anything with it. So then I wasted it, and it was a sin. So my challenge for when we moved in the house, we've only been here for 2 months, so we still have some things going on, but my challenge for the very first thing we had to do, Michael was losing weight, I was gaining it. Dylan was eating peanut butter and jelly because you'd come in the door at 5 o'clock and you're like, well, what do I do? Nothing's defrosted, I didn't plan. And then it dawned on me, You have to plan this stuff. You got to. So I started doing my research, and I remember like I messed around with it before, putting together lists and, you know, recipes and da-da-da. But this time I got serious. And the only way that I was going to be able to do this is if I got serious. So I went over the top a little, but I started meal planning. And here's the good thing. Here is the general system. The general system works out for me every 2 weeks. It's really not so bad. What happens is this. I put together a binder, and I put together a meal plan. I sit down. Now I know that I am not going to be able to cook every single night, so I really thought about how this was going to happen. I wanted to sit down to dinner and eat about 5:30, 6 o'clock before Michael goes to work. So in order for that to happen, I was going to have to depend on my crockpots. Let me tell you something. And then the other reason why I needed the crockpot is because my weekends aren't free either. Saturday mornings, Dylan and I get up, we go to the barn. We're at the barn for like a good 3 or 4 hours. We go visit grandparents, we go run errands, we go to other friends' farms and visit their horses. We're really, really engrossed in country living on the weekends. Dylan is surrounded by chickens and horses and cows, and he's picking up responsibility and horsemanship the way that I always wanted him, because it just breeds responsibility. But we are on the road, so when we come in the door at like 3 or 4 o'clock, we have to be ready to eat. So what I did was, I just decided that more often than not, I am going to use my crock pot. So I really only cook like once a week, maybe, and that's like a 1-dish meal, or like a 1 skillet meal or something like that. So every now and then I'll be like, I'm so fancy, and I'll cook something up like Chef Ramsay style, but more often than not, it is coming from a crock pot. So what I did was, are you trying to get out of your high chair? Are you done? Holy crap. I took a crock pot cookbook, and I went recipe by recipe, and I actually made a plan. I don't think you're going to be able to see this, but it doesn't really matter. I just split it out from Saturday to Friday, Saturday to Friday. So week 1, week 2. And then I take those ingredients and I make a meal plan ingredient list, if you can see that. Okay? And so I know that I can take this list, then print it out, go around my kitchen, take an inventory of what I already have on hand, highlight the ingredients that I need to purchase, and go to the store and purchase them. And I'll talk about that in a minute. Then I do the same thing for another 2 weeks. So now I have 2 months worth of recipes and shopping lists. And then I just go on, and then I can just rotate them. I can, you know, after 6 weeks, I can go into meal plan 2 and, you know, mess around with those recipes or make something brand new by taking a couple and then whatever. There have been a couple of recipes that my husband, Michael, has decided to ixnay. So we're ixnaying them, and I'll replace them with something else. And then, while I'm at it, it's so easy, since everything's all typed up, I can just take those and I can paste them into another Word document, and I can therefore start making a whole divider of recipes. And you. And I can make, like, Michael his own section, which I have done. I've made his own section of his absolute favorites, so that, you know, if it's a night where we're all home and I'm cooking, I can just go ahead and do that. So then what I do with the ingredients list is that every other Saturday, in between feeding the horses in the morning, doing other errands and visiting grandparents, and then going back to feed horses at night, Dylan and I go to Aldi's. I take a big old cooler I put it in the back of my truck in my cargo area. And it's an SUV, so I don't have like gallons of milk flying everywhere. And I put all of the frozen stuff in there. And then on the way home, we stop, feed the horses, and then we go home and unload everything. And so I have 2 weeks worth of groceries. I throw some other things in there as I see them on sale to maybe stock up. But I've been able to stay inside of my budget. I have come in under my budget. Last month we spent $300 on groceries, but that was a little high because there were 2 recipes that each required one $15 ingredient. There was one crab lasagna, which I do not recommend in the crock pot. I don't. The whole house smells like crabs, not in a good way. And then the other one was something else, but that's 2 recipes that had one $30 ingredient on top of all the other fresh ingredients that I had to purchase. So really, after I've done some, tweaking and everything, I'm pretty confident that I can get the grocery list down to about $250. One Aldi's visit that included at least a week and a half worth of grocery was only $118. I really can't beat it. If you have an Aldi's in your area, highly, highly recommend it. What we also do is we supplement our groceries with going to the farmer's market. There's a local farmer's market in our area. If you can support your local CSA program, I am a huge believer in that. So that is how I've done it. So let me take you through this binder really quick, just so that you know, and you can do this any way you want to. But the first area is a reference checkpoint. So this is basically everything that should be in your pantry. Breadcrumbs, vegetable oil, blah, blah, blah. So you can, on your way out, like once a month, an Aldi's visit is like a serious stock up. And I won't just go to Aldi's. I just pay attention to the ads and pay attention. You can't have the camera. I won't just go to Aldi's either. I do pay attention to the ads, and if like my Acme usually has these fantastic 10 for 10s, and it'll be loaves of bread and jarred sauce, and I just go in and I take like $50, and you can mix and match, so you can get 5 of one, 10 of one, 5 of the other. And I have a little store area down in my basement where I keep extra pastas, extra pasta sauces, that sort of thing. So I always have something on hand. I'll take you through how I organize the kitchen in a minute. But so the pantry list right here. Here are the actual meal plans, how I have it broken down. And you don't have to stick to this. I very rarely do. Sometimes I'll say, well, I try to put everything that has the freshest ingredients, everything that uses the most fresh vegetables and the most fresh fruits and that sort of thing up top. But you don't have to take, don't take it so seriously. Sometimes we're just not in the mood for chicken, so we do something else. When we get down to the very bottom of the list and, we're getting low on supplies, I always have pasta, I always have dough to make homemade pizza, I always have side dishes, rices, beans, I have a rice maker, I always have tortilla shells, I always have some ground beef. So like some of those things that you can have on hand that you can make dinner in 30 minutes, I think in the course of a 2-week period, I might in total spend 3 hours cooking. And that includes chopping and dicing and browning any meat that I have to in order to put in the crock pot. I have really mastered this. So I am sharing this with you so that I hope everybody feels like, maybe it's not so hard, we can eat out a little less. I love you. I love you so much, but you cannot put your pasta sauce all over my camera. Okay, so then right here I have a baking tab because I will make, on the days where I'm super, super ambitious, or weeks rather, I will have a little bit of a baking schedule where I'll bake some bread, I'll bake some muffins for breakfast, that sort of thing. These are just my recipes for that. Boy. And then, as usual, I have an entertaining tab because I cannot wait to host. So as I become more confident with the crock pot, believe it or not, the crock pot makes you confident because it tastes so good. You're like, I can do this. So there were a couple of times where I did something on my own and I was like, this is really good. It's not so bad. I have confidence with cooking. Okay, so then I have my little entertainment section there. And when all else fails, you can always call for a pizza. But you won't need to. I promise you won't. We have all of our meal planning done, and we have our list made of all the ingredients that we need for each recipe. And then we go into our kitchen and we decide what it is that we need and what it is that we don't need and what. Let me show you. Okay, so this is my supply pantry. Okay, this is just my little area. I keep my meal planning stuff in here. This is my area where my calendar is and nobody can touch it. So this is only what I need to prepare meals for the crock pot for this week. Now you can see everything is getting low here. There's some things that I didn't use, or some things that are always going to be here. Things that I haven't used all the way, some croutons and some egg noodles. I'm just gonna, you leave them there because you use them first next time. Some other canned goods that I didn't get around to because like maybe we had a barbecue to go to that was last minute, so I didn't cook that day. Up here I keep all of my yeast for all of my baking. I just kind of got one for everything. I have a wheat, I have yeast specifically for dough. No, you can reach that. Wave. Hi. So it goes here. We go and put all of this kind of jazz right here so that I can grab it real quick, okay? Over here is my crock pot, and this is my crock pot station. This is the Fix It and Forget It 5 ingredient favorite slow cooker recipe book. I highly, 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 highly recommend it. This author has, oh, so many. She has a barbecue one. She has one for weight loss. She has comfort food. She has winter food. She has stew. She has everything. And I happened to find this the same exact day that I was going to order it off of Amazon.com. I found it at Five Below for $5. So I am now partial to this one. I keep everything that I need right here because some of the things are definitely going to, well, most are going to call for some sort of prep work, but I have found that I can take about 15 minutes before I leave for work and do it and turn it on, and it's not a problem. I just keep my olive oils, my regular olive oil, EVOO, vegetable oil, cutting boards, and then the other thing that I have really close by are all of my utensils here. And in this basket I keep my garlic and my onions. Inside of this other pot right here, that's my rice. I use rice a lot. I do have a rice cooker because without that, I just don't know. I can't cook rice. And right next to the stove are my spices. Sweeteners, extra stuff, and then all of my spices, my Himalayan salts back there. I have some vinegar back there. So really everything is within reach. And if you're wondering why I have a camera or a mirror, it's so that I can see Dylan in his high chair while I'm cooking. Forgive the fact that we have no dining room furniture yet. I haven't gotten that far. Okay. Taking a time out to watch my video, it means so much to me. I just really felt compelled to share something that I was able to change about our meal times, and everybody is a lot healthier, happier. Everybody, we're well fed, we're taken care of, we're not spending a lot of money on groceries. We have it down to a science where we can only go to the grocery store every 14 days. I mean, that's fantastic. If we want to go out to eat, it's a deliberate choice, and it's not something that we've done out of panic or desperation. And we're just being able to spend money more wisely and pay attention to what it is that we consume. And it was just really a challenge for me in the beginning. And then for some reason, once I just buckled down and decided this is how it's going to be, and I really just put my thinking cap on and did some planning, it turned out fantastic. And I just wanted to share with you the fastest way so that maybe you can skip all over the torture that I went through. What I am going to do is I am going to move all of my lists onto Google Docs. Absolutely feel free to go into the down bar, grab them, print them out for yourself, mess around. I mean, I spent the time typing them all up, so it would be absolutely my pleasure if you utilize them. And then, oh, I could save you some time, and you know, now you have more time to go play catch with your son or to go play Barbies with your daughter. Although that was very gender specific. Play Barbies with your son and play catch with your daughter. Whatever works for your family. Dylan is going to town on that spaghetti. And Maggio is just waiting for him to drop something. That's what that sound is. It's Maggio begging him to drop something. As if that dog didn't get fed. Welcome to my family. Live your positive life, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Mwah! Michael. Okay, you guys. We're Italiano. Look at that. Look at all that sauce on that face. So the real reason, oh my gosh, I'm wearing khakis and there's pasta sauce. Well, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in again. I know it's been a long time. And I know that's Mommy's grape juice. Addio. Sissy. Grape juice. Mommy's grape juice. Already had so that you can do all of that. I think we have plenty of bloopers for this one.